Alright, so we made a new composition, and it's a 720 by 480 composition. You can look up here and see. It tells you exactly what you made. 720 by 480, and we have a 10-second video at 29.97 frames per second. Just a little bit about the 29.97. That's a standard for television playback. And we have plenty of pixels wide and down um, for if we needed to go to web, we definitely would have the resolution. If we needed to go and down res for web, we would have that. So what I wanted to do was just to talk a little bit about this window right here. This is our composition window. And from the left here over to the right, you have a lot of different settings. Basically, in After Effects, you can use Command or Control on the PC. You can use Command plus and minus to zoom in or out on your composition, and you can use Spacebar to pan around. A lot, just like the Adobe applications. So if I was in my selection tool, I can hit Spacebar and pan around my composition. I can also use my preset zooms here, which are pretty standard with Adobe. And then just going over from left to right here, we got tooltips going up. I could bring up a title safe here, which if you're working with a video and you're creating content for a television screen, you'll really want to have this title action safe set. The reason for that is because although it looks fine okay here in your composition settings, this is basically a guide to tell you, hey, listen, within this first box here, your title or any kind of text that you might have is safe to be displayed on most monitors. The second ring here is action safe. Okay, so action meaning just any kind of motion graphics or anything like that. And outside here is kind of like, hey, we don't really know, based upon standard televisions. It may be that this will not even be displayed ever in this last ring right here. So sometimes it's helpful to have these little tooltips up here. You can also have proportional grids to help you space things out. You can have even a finer grid here to get you going with that. Let me just turn both of these off. One really neat thing is I'm just going to turn it off and back on again, is this your rulers, which will allow you to actually align things just by pulling down from the ruler. You can align different things, and this is especially helpful if you have to align content up, just like Photoshop or Illustrator. You can use these guides to help you align your content. I'm just going to move those back and turn that off for now. Okay, and then over here, this is basically just a little dialogue that is going to ask you, if you click on it, at what point you wish to go to what time, and you could just as well just pull this time code just over here. But say I wanted to go to 5 seconds, hit OK, hit 5 and hit OK, and we would go to our 5 seconds. So this is just a way to kind of search in our timeline here. Moving on here, there's a take snapshot button here, which will basically take a snapshot of our current scene. Okay, the next one is show the last snapshot. It's kind of like a check as to if you wanted to test something out and take a snapshot and then recall the last snapshot. That's what these are basically for. Yeah, the next button is whether you want to see red, green, blue channels or transparency or alpha. The next is what resolution you'd like to see. Um, basically, full is like high quality, but high quality at the sacrifice of speed. So, depending on what kind of computer you have, if you have a really fast computer, you might be able to see full quality video at full speed if you're lucky. If you're running into stuttering and jittering, you're going to want to change this to either half or third quality. And what this will do is basically show you, you know, it's going to show you the speed and the accuracy of your animation, but it's going to sacrifice pixel quality for that. Okay, and then the rest, right here we have our we got a region of interest, so we could actually pick this button and we can set a certain area of our video. If we needed to just concentrate on a certain area for rendering, we could define an area of interest, and it would ignore everything else and just render what's inside of this dialog. That would speed up the rendering of your dialog, you're rendering your video, and we could probably set that to full quality because it's set to such a small area. We can concentrate on a small area there. Next one is whether or not we would like to show the background transparency, kind of like Photoshop. Next here is how many what view of the video we'd like to see. If we'd like to see the current active camera, which is the default, or if we'd like to see a left view or a right or top view. After Effects does have the ability to show multiple views of a video. So if we set up like 4 views, for example, on the next dialog, you can see that each of these can be set to different perspectives. This first one here is set to top, this one's set to front, this is set to right, and this is set to left, or we can set it to active camera. So this is more or less helpful if you are working with three-dimensional animation, so you'll be able to see the animation coming in from the sides. You can change it to 4 views. I'm going to set that back to 1 view. Okay, and then further along here, basically this is a toggle pixel aspect ratio correction, and fast previews, basically rendering of this window. Either, I would just basically set this to adaptive resolution here, and the next one is timeline, whether or not you want to see the timeline. Next one's really helpful is a flowchart for your scene. If you start to create multiple scenes, this is a flowchart that will allow you to visualize your video in relation to other components of your composition. And the last one is just an exposure control, which from what I gather is kind of like a brightness or contrast in an overall setting for your video.